with a large percentage of children who cannot read with meaning. The 2019 Progress in International Reading Literacy study, PIRLS, showed that 8 out of 10 grade 4 learners cannot read with meaning in any language. And it's a finding made that much worse when considering the level of poverty, unemployment, and the long list of other social burdens carried out by our country's youth. Well, for more, let's chat to early childhood development specialist and educator Usha Naidoo. She joins us now from our Durban studios. Good afternoon, Usha. Thank you for sharing your time with us on the SABC News Desk.
Thank you, Kashni. It's a pleasure to be here.
Usha, are we in a reading crisis in our country right now, or is that being alarmist?
I certainly don't think it's being alarmist. We really are in a reading crisis in this country right now. And we should realize that if you started off early with early childhood development, if you started off there, that is going to hold for the rest of that child's life. The success of that child in her career will depend on her early childhood development reading strategies that she developed. So definitely, if we start at that grassroots level, we are setting that child up for success.
Well, the latest budget, if I can recall, that they actually allocate a large portion of the pie to early childhood development. What kind of strategies should teachers be rolling out at this point to improve on children's performance when it comes to reading with meaning, Usha?
Reading with meaning is just that. These days, students are just simply reading out to the teachers in the classroom, and they are being taught elocution, maybe they are being taught pronunciation, and that, reading with emotion, but they are certainly not being taught how to read, to comprehend, to understand, to be able to engage with that material. And that is what is the most important thing, is to engage with that material, to tell you what has resonated with you, to be able to engage in a discussion on the material that you have read.
How is reading, I just want to gain a sense of how reading is actually taught at classroom or even at the pre-foundation school phase, and why is this method so obviously not working, Usha?
If you had to go to a primary school, now they do have dedicated reading lessons, but if you had to go past one of those classrooms and listen to what is going on in the classroom, what you would hear is probably the teacher reading from a reader and the students or learners then simply enunciating what she is saying or saying it after her in a very sing-song fashion. What have they learnt from this? Maybe she will correct them in the way they are pronouncing something. She would stop to correct that. But what have they actually learnt by just saying the thing that the teacher has said? They have learnt practically nothing. And that is why we are seeing problems later on when it comes to them at high school level, where they cannot understand and find meaning in what they are reading. And that is why we are having problems at university level, where they are looking at textbooks which are hugely different and hugely difficult to read and to comprehend and to make notes from. But it all starts in primary school, and it all starts even earlier than primary school. It all starts in the nursery school, where they are, or they should be, exposed to books from that early age.
Usha, how do we start to encourage a robust reading culture in our home environments already, and even at the preschool of our foundation phase or at the early learning childhood phase, because a reading nation remains a winning one?
Absolutely. South Africa, historically, we have not had a reading culture. And the reason for that is, if you take our past, our historical past, a lot of us grew up in townships, and I myself grew up in a township. A lot of us grew up in rural areas. And in those days, even currently now, for those people who are living in rural areas, it wasn't easy the lifestyle that we were living was not easy. It was all about survival. It wasn't about buying books. It was about the money that you had being put to use to feed your family. But things have changed now somewhat. Books have become vastly more accessible to the public. There are literally hundreds of bookstores selling books. Books are being sold so cheaply. If you have to just go onto social media, you find people actually giving away boxes of books. So there is no excuse for saying that you cannot get hold of a book. Now, I think that every school should have a library, and that those principals who say that they are sitting without a library are just simply not being proactive. Because had you just to put out the word on social media that your school is probably an underprivileged school and you are looking to get more books, I promise you, there are hundreds and thousands of people out there willing to donate, willing to give it. You just need to make it well known that you are looking for your library to be stocked. You're looking at corporate sponsorships. You're looking at people willing to help, willing and ready to help you. All you need to do is just be woke enough and proactive enough to go out there and seek it, instead of looking to the Department of Education to be providing a library for you. Yes, we do know it's their duty, but to those principals who do not have access to a library for their children, well, simply just make a room in your school available. Start gathering books. Put it in there so that the children know that there is a place that they can go to. A book is not a foreign object to them. As even in early childhood development centers, reading time must be timetabled. And whether in school, whether in primary school, whether in high school, whether in an ECD, early childhood development center, reading time and reading study time should be timetabled by the heads of these institutions. And pupils
Naidoo,
be allowed to read books.
Usha, thank you so much. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there due to time constraints. Usha Naidoo, educator, published author and early learning childhood development expert, joining us there from our studios in Durban.